Navigation without instruments, over thousands of kilometers, across featureless ocean, through total darkness, across generations, is routine in the animal kingdom. The mechanisms involved include magnetic field sensing, polarized light detection, infrasound mapping, olfactory imprinting, and in at least one case, a galaxy. None of these abilities has been replicated by human engineering at the same scale and energy cost. Bar-tailed godwits, Limosa laponica boweri, complete the longest non-stop migratory flight of any bird, approximately 11,000 kilometers from Alaska to New Zealand across open Pacific Ocean, taking 11 days without landing, feeding, or drinking. Before departure, the birds undergo a physiological transformation. Their digestive organs, stomach, intestines, liver, kidneys, shrink by approximately 25% of their normal mass, freeing space and reducing weight. The fat content of their body increases from 30% to 55% of total body weight in the weeks before departure. During the flight, the birds sleep in brief episodes with one hemisphere of the brain at a time, the same unihemispheric sleep that dolphins use, while continuing to fly. They arrive having lost 55% of their departure body weight. Satellite tracking confirms they fly this route in a single, continuous arc with no intermediate stops. Arctic terns, Sternoparadisea, hold the record for total annual migration distance, approximately 70,000 kilometers per year, from their Arctic breeding grounds to Antarctic waters and back. Over a typical lifespan of 30 years, an individual Arctic tern travels a cumulative distance of approximately 2.4 million kilometers, roughly 3 times the distance to the Moon. They migrate via the Atlantic Ocean, following wind patterns that vary by season, taking different routes in each direction. Arctic terns experience more hours of daylight per year than any other animal on Earth. They spend both northern and southern summers in polar regions where summer days are continuous or near continuous. Their navigation relies on a combination of the sun's position, star patterns, and magnetic field detection, and they begin making autonomous navigational decisions within months of hatching. Sea turtles, Chelonia mitas and related species, return to the exact beach where they were born to lay their own eggs, often decades later, after spending years at sea in ocean basins thousands of kilometers wide. The mechanism is magnetic imprinting. Hatchlings record the unique magnetic signature of their birth beach in the first hours of life, then use this stored magnetic map to navigate back when they reach reproductive age. The Earth's magnetic field shifts slowly over time, and leatherback sea turtles have been shown to adjust their nesting locations in response to these shifts, arriving on slightly different sections of coastline in each decade as the magnetic coordinates of their birth beach drift. This represents a population-level navigation behavior that adapts in real time to geological change. Monarch butterflies, Danaus plexippus, migrate from eastern Canada to a single overwintering site, an area of approximately 4 hectares in the mountains of Michoacan, Mexico, a distance of up to 4,500 kilometers. The migration requires 4 complete generations. No individual completes the full round trip. The butterflies that arrive in Mexico have never been there before and have no learned knowledge of the route. Their navigation uses a time-compensated sun compass. They track the sun's position and adjust for its movement throughout the day using an internal circadian clock, combined with magnetic field sensing. The 4th-generation butterflies that arrive in Mexico are physiologically distinct from the preceding generations. They enter reproductive diapause, live 8 months rather than 6 weeks, and then initiate the northward return migration in spring. Salmon, Oncorhynchus sp., return from ocean feeding grounds to the specific stream, in some cases the exact tributary where they hatched, after spending 2 to 7 years at sea. The mechanism is olfactory imprinting. Salmon memorize the chemical signature of their birth stream as juveniles, retaining a molecular memory of that specific water across years of ocean migration. Experiments in which juvenile salmon were exposed to a synthetic chemical before release showed adults returning to streams artificially scented with the same chemical, confirming the imprint mechanism. Upon entering freshwater, adult salmon stop eating entirely. They live on stored body fat and muscle protein, and their bodies break down as they approach the spawning site. Pacific salmon die within days of spawning. The carcasses, distributed through the forest by predators, provide up to 80% of the nitrogen in the surrounding ecosystem. Dung beetles, Scarabaeus satyrus, are the only animals known to navigate using the Milky Way. Research conducted in South Africa confirmed that dung beetles rolled dung balls in a straight line under a starry sky, but became disoriented when the Milky Way was blocked while other stars remained visible, indicating they were using the Milky Way's brightness gradient, not individual stars. The beetles were also tested in a planetarium with a full sky projection. They navigated correctly. They cannot resolve individual stars, their visual acuity is too low, but they can detect the difference in luminance between the Milky Way and the surrounding sky. Dung beetles roll their dung ball in a straight line to avoid competitors, and straight-line navigation requires a fixed reference point. At night, the Milky Way is the only reference available that works in all conditions. European eels, Anguilla anguilla, are born in the Sargasso Sea, near Bermuda, and drift as transparent larvae on ocean currents for approximately 3 years before arriving in European coastal waters. They then migrate upstream into rivers and lakes, where they may live for 20 to 85 years as adults. When ready to spawn, they reverse the journey, migrating back to the Sargasso Sea, approximately 6,000 kilometers, to breed and die. No European eel has ever been tracked completing this full return journey. Scientists have tagged eels migrating west into the Atlantic Ocean but have never recovered a tag or confirmed a spawning event. The Sargasso Sea has no confirmed eel nursery visible from the surface. No eel eggs, larvae, or adults have been documented there except by inference. The entire spawning migration of European eels is inferred from larval drift patterns, not direct observation. Humpback whales, Megaptera novaeanglii, migrate between Antarctic feeding grounds and tropical breeding areas, up to 8,000 kilometers, and maintain their course within 0.5 degrees of a straight line across open ocean, with no landmarks. They accomplish this without visible reference points, echolocation, which does not provide useful information at this scale, or any external navigation aid that researchers have been able to identify. Proposed mechanisms include magnetic field sensing via magnetite crystals in their heads, infrasound mapping, detecting the characteristic low-frequency sounds produced by specific underwater topographic features, and celestial navigation. None of these has been definitively confirmed. The straightness of the route is documented by satellite tracking. Humpbacks do not meander or explore, they navigate as precisely as a vessel using GPS. These migrations represent one of the most sophisticated and least understood domains of animal biology. In every case, the animal accomplishes with a gram of neural tissue what human navigation technology replicated only within the last century. Tomorrow's fact involves an ability scientists still can't fully explain. This channel posts a new animal fact video every day. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one.